allowed to kill up to 5 people before the local authorities were involved. But, you know, when I sat down with the chief executive there, I said, that might be fine for China, but you've got to imagine our shareholders are all from America, you know, and Europe. And if you kill one person, can you imagine, you know, what's going to happen there? They're certainly going to be interested. So using the terminology that would actually engage the CEO from that point of view. When I was at AECOM, it was a unique selling point. We did a lot of work in Russia and Kazakhstan and places like that. And you work, I'm sure you do as well, with these big FTSE companies who actually want to make sure that people don't die on their projects. And I was building the Peugeot Citroën plant in Kaluga, and we invited the guys from Mars along. And they said, who manages safety on this job? We said, well, we do. And they said, well, we want to make an extension to our factory in Kaluga, near Kaluga, and we'd like you to manage safety on our behalf. So that was a unique selling point. I put a story together on that in the internal magazine to say Safety Act can actually give you business. So I don't think it's the country, I think it's about the company culture. And I work for one company who will remain nameless, and the campus in India, they were so enthusiastic about being world class that in a period of 3 years, through education, through actually training and working with the team, they became really good. Whereas I went to the UK, and our UK sites were the biggest pain in my neck, because they're like, it means building standards go away. And as we know, you've got to expect and why there's fire risk assessments and stuff like that. So they were much more difficult to deal with than an enthusiastic management team, who following this were amazingly embarrassed, as you can expect. And I think company culture is the main thing. So, if it's about branding, if it's about competitiveness, if it's linking in with your initiatives, you're going to engage the senior management team, and therefore, whether you're in India, whether you're in Taiwan or Nepal, then actually you can engage the people through the company culture and the way that you do things. That's the levers that I found to be most successful.
Qatar is one of the countries in the world that found a lot of money and wanted to be the best it could possibly be, and they thought they could buy it. They still think they can buy it. And up until yesterday, we know they can't buy it. That isn't a criticism of the country of Qatar, that's a criticism of this revolution, the cut and paste world that we live in, without actual support behind that cut and paste. Documents one thing, but we're dealing with people in a paper. I realised you actually didn't need to say a single word to communicate with anyone. Didn't matter if we were from India, from Pakistan, Middle East. You didn't have to say a word. You just give them a smile. How you doing? They know what you're saying. They don't know what the word "how are you doing" means, but they know that you're actually there for them. When you have a conversation with them, if they're doing something wrong, like they're under a truck where the brakes have failed and they're trying to fix it, and they forget to chop the wheels, and you drag them out of there, and you say, no, because if this rolls, that's it, nothing muscular. And all of a sudden they're like, oh, okay sir, thumbs up. You don't need to speak any language to understand body language and a bit of warmth, a bit of humanity. And I think that often is missed by large, I won't say large corporations, that's unfair. I think it's missed. The bigger the thing gets, the more it gets missed.
Let's talk a little bit about what's going on to try and get you as health and safety professionals recognised around the world, and what's changing really, maybe in terms of the world of work for safety professionals, and how it might change over time. Generally, we do exams in about 130 countries. And the dark blue are where we have course providers, and the grey is where we have exams. But you can probably see from that the industries which often drive safety are focused around the high hazard sectors, or mineral industries, or energy sector industries. So particularly for us in the Middle East, in Russia, in India, Europe, and the Americas. So there is a focus on safety for us around the energy sector and its supporting industries, construction, infrastructure companies. So what are the drivers out there for bothering to get recognition or qualifications? Well, the first thing is you're starting to see are the development of education regulators out in the countries where we and other organisations offer training and qualifications. So, and these are all relatively new. So to actually deliver qualifications in many of the countries where we work in now, you have to get a qualification accredited by the local education regulator. And what it helps is if your qualification is then recognised first in the UK, because it's much easier to show a comparison across between networks. So you can see a number of organisations there, and in sort of typical markets for us like Trinidad, Mauritius, Singapore, South Africa, all have education regulators.